So we are now on the bottom of Nun Tes Hamid Aleph, about to turn to Hamid Beis. And if you look 2 lines before the end of the Amud, the Gemara quotes the Mishnah, Elu ve'elu mis'arvim v'yoma v'yotzim, the Shiori Adam of the Mizbeach HaPnimi, the Chatas Pnimis, and likewise of the Chatas Chitzona, goes rolling down through a canal, and that water, that subterranean canal, will bring the dam all the way out to a place called Nachal Kidron, and there it is sold as fertilizer to the Gananim, to the gardeners. Tana Rabbana, we learned in the Brisa, Mo'alim b'damim divrei Rabbi Meir Rabbi Shimon, according to the shitos of both Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Shimon, there is me'ilah in dam kodsh, which means that even after the dam goes out to the Nachal Kidron, and you've already fulfilled the mitzvah of Shvicha Shirayim, nevertheless, the dam still maintains its status and its Iser Me'ilah. And we'll discuss this in just one moment. Chachamim omrim ein mo'ala behem. There is no Me'ilah in dam. And truth be told, that this brisa, which is dealing with dam that went out to the Nachal Kidron, is dealing with a case of nases mitzvasa. Now, we have a principle in Me'ilah that the din of Me'ilah only applies before nases mitzvah, but once it's nases mitzvah, so you did whatever you have to do, then there's no longer din Me'ilah. And yet our Mishnah says that there is Me'ilah in dam, according and reflecting the sheet of the Brisa of Rabbi Meir Rabbi Shimon. Says the Ritva that we have a principle Stam Mishnah Rabbi Meir. Our Mishnah reflects the sheet of Rabbi Meir, but Me'ilah is only D'Rabbanan. The Chachamim disagree with that Mishnah. They hold that there's no Me'ilah at all. Both agree on a Doraisa level that there's no Me'ilah in Damim because it was already Nasis Mitzvah, so by the time it goes out to Nachal Kidron. But the question is whether Rabbanan generated an Iser Me'ilah even after Nasis Mitzvah. So here we turn to Daf Nun Tes Amud Beis. Ad kan lo pligi ela midrabanan. Machlokes Tanoim here is only on a D'Rabbanan level. Aval midaraisa ein molin bahem. There is no me'ilin dam on a D'Oraisa level. And at this point, the Gemara is differentiating between Me'ilah D'Oraisa, Me'ilah D'Rabbanan. And the difference is that in Me'ilah D'Oraisa, you have to add a chomesh, 20%. However, in the case of Me'ilah D'Rabbanan, the Rabbanan only require that you pay the keren, the principal, but you're not penalized to add a chomesh. Now, the Gemara doesn't explain, how does it know that all the Tanoim agree that there's no Me'ilah in Dam Kodshim D'Oraisa? And Tosfos, on the top of the Amud, says that they derive this from the words of the Mishnah, V'nimkarim L'Gananim L'Zeva, that we can sell the Dam in the Nachal Kidron to the gardeners. It must be that there's no Me'ilah in Dam Kodshim. If there was Me'ilah in Dam Kodshim, that would mean that Dam Kodshim is sanctified with what we call Kedushas HaGuf. And with regard to Kedushas HaGuf, there's no such thing as pidyon. So the fact that you sell it to a gardener doesn't mean that the money that the gardener pays is kesef pidyon, because he can't be paid to something that's Kodesh Kedushas HaGuf. Hence, we must derive the conclusion from our Mishnah that there's no Me'ilah in Dam. And the Torah never included Dam in what we call Kedushas HaGuf as far as Me'ilah is concerned. And therefore, the entire enterprise of Me'ilah, which is indicated in our Mishnah, is a reflection of a D'Rabbanan. Just want to go back to the Mishnah for a split second. And the Mishnah says, Elu ve'elu mis'arvin ba'ama, right? The yotzim, etc., etc., umalin b'hem. So the Mishnah ends with two words, mol and bahem. And that's me'ilah d'Rabbanan. At the Raisa level, there is no me'ilah in dam kodsh. The Gemara is going to derive that now from a pasuk. Now, in order to appreciate the Gemara is going to now have three different possible drushes from one pasuk. This pasuk is in Vayikra Perik Yud Zayin, pasuk Yud Aleph. I'll read the pasuk. It says, "Ki nefesh habasar b'damhi, v'aninis hativ lachem ala mizbech lechaper al afshel seichem, ki hadam hu b'nefesh yechaper." Omar Ula, Omar Kro lachem. The pasuk says, "V'aninis hativ lachem, shalachem yehei." In other words, it's yours. There's no me'ilah. It doesn't belong to Hegdesh. It's like chulin. The Bei Rabbi Shmuel Tana, let's put the emphasis on a different part of the pasuk. It says, "Vanina sativ lachem al hamizbeach lechaper lekapar nesativ v'lo leme'ilah." I've given it to you for the sake and the purpose of kapara, and to the exclusion of me'ilah. So it has a din of hegdesh vis-a-vis kapara, but not vis-a-vis me'ilah. And the Meiri adds the following comment that I'll read: Dam hakodshim nitan l'Yisrael l'tova v'lo l'ra'ah l'chapara v'lo l'me'ilah. So it's like kapara is a positive and me'ilah is a negative. Shelo yisarev kategorim sanegar. We don't mix a kategor with a sanegar, and therefore it's l'kapara v'lo l'me'ilah. Rabbi Yochanan has a third drush. Omar Kra hu. It says ki adam hu. And what does the word hu teach us? V'avayoso yehe, meaning it always has the din of dam, and it doesn't change. It's a stable. It's not something that changes. Therefore, lifnei kapara, kiliachar kapara. Even before he does the zrika of the dam and the mizbeach, it's like he had done the zrika, and it was after kapara. Maliachar kapara bo me'ilah, because of the principle of naseis mitzvaso, and me'ata, therefore it's not considered kodshei Hashem. Is af lifnei kapara ein bo me'ilah. So that means that after they shechted the animal, they haven't yet done the zrikas hadam. And after the zrika, of course, it's already kapara. But here, it is after the shechita, and it's before zrika. Is then we say that's called li'achar kapara. Just 1 second. Hainu achar shchitas habeima kodem shenizrak dama. So when you're talking about lifnei kapara, it means before the zrika sadam, right? The kapara is the zrika. But if, let's say, it's before shchita, then it's not called dam at all, right? It doesn't even have the possibility of kapara. Then it does have me'ilah. So, for example, if, let's say, he would extract the blood, that's called hakazas adam, of this behemas kodshim, while it's still alive, then there certainly would be me'ilah, because it doesn't come under kapara. Once there's shchita, then it anticipates kapara, and the Torah says there's no me'ilah because we should compare it to liachar kapara after the zrika when it's already naseis mitzvahs. Now the Gemara wants to ask a question: how does Rabbi Yochanan really derive from the pasuk that we should equate the dam kodem kapara before the zrika to the dam after kapara after the zrika when it's already naseis mitzvahs? I mean, you do have a comparison in the pasuk, but in which direction are you comparing? When you have A and B, is A proving something about B or vice versa? The Ema, why not be argumentative about it and use this hekesh in the opposite direction? And that would be the following: li'achar kapara ki lifnei kapara. Now, before the kapara, there is me'ilah, logically. because it's not yet nases mitzvah, so he hasn't yet been zorik the dam. So why not say that just like there's meila logically before kapara, before the zrika, so too the Torah is equating liachar kapara to lifnei kapara, and even liachar kapara, we should say that there is meila. And the Gemara answers, it's impossible. You can't do it in that direction because you're going to come to an untenable position that liachar kapara, there's meila. There can't be meila after kapara because it's nase's mitzvah. So now here we have a kash of Tosfos, Dibra Maskal Ein, like the third Tosfos on the page. He says, why not say the opposite? Ein lecha davar shelo nases mitzvaso v'ein molin bo. Meaning, if the dam is before zrika and it's lo nases mitzvos because the dam is l'zrika, how can you tell me that there's no meila? There's no such thing as something that is before nases mitzvaso and is excluded from meila. So Tosfos Yeshanim gives an answer. We'll see the answer if we have time later, but we're running out of time. So let's just finish the daf. The Gemara asks, is it really true that after Nasis Mitzvah there's no Me'ilah? Bechilo, is that really true? Right? When he takes a little bit of the deshen, the ashes off the Mizbeach, and he puts it on the karka next to the Mizbeach, the Torah says, Vayikra Vav Per Gimel, Ve'rimis HaDeshen Asher Tochal Eish as Olav al Mizbeach, V'samoitz al Mizbeach, and the Chachamim derive in Psachim Chav Zayin that the word V'samo means you need Gniza, meaning it's also by no. So you see that there is Me'ilah Min Torah. Again, there's a lot of lumdus here because it's not really an Isra Me'ilah, it's only an Isra Hana without Me'ilah. But Tosfos does quote the sheet of the Ritzbah that Trumas Habdeshen is only an Isra Hana without Me'ilah. But the Gemara here seems to assume that there's Me'ilah, and we derive from the pasuk V'sama. And here on the top of Daf Samach, the Gemara answers that it's true that in the case of Deshen, it has Me'ilah or an Isra Hana, at least according to Ritzbah, even after Naseis Mitzvaso, but Mishum Davi Trumas Hadeshen Big Lekuna Shnei Ksuma Bon Kecha V'Chol Shnei Ksuma Bon Kecha Ein Malamtin. We have another exception to the rule where even though it's Naseis Mitzvaso, nevertheless there is an Isra Me'ilah. For example, Big Day Kahuna. Right, the Kohen Gadol wears 4 begadim when he goes Lifnai V'Lifnim, and at the end of Yom Kippur he wants to bequeath these 4 begadim to a Kohen Hedjot because they wear the. I mean, we're not going to the question about the Avnei, but they wear the same 4 begadim, and the Torah says that you're not allowed to do so. And now we have 2 psukim, both of which set up exceptions to the rule, and despite the fact that it was Naseis Mitzvah, so both in Trumas Hadeshen and Big Day Kuna, nevertheless there is Me'ilah. So we have a principle of Shnei Ksuma Bam Kechet, Ein Melandin. So the Gemara says, Anichel Rabbanan Diamri, this is a sugi at the beginning of Yoma, on Daf Yud Beis, that in Big Day Kahuna it says, V'inicham Sham, Melamid Shem Tunim Geniza, it's also by No, and the Kohen Gadol cannot bequeath his begadim at the end of Yom Kippur to the Kohen Hedjot. El Rabbi Dotza, the Amar Big Day Kahuna Ru'uyim Heim LeKohen Hedjot Ma'ikol Mema. According to the Shita of Rabbi Dosa, the Big Day Kahuna of the Kohen Gadol can be bequeathed. They don't need Geniza, and we give it to the Kohen Hedjot. So now we only have one pasuk to teach me that even though it's Naseis Mitzvah, so there still is Me'ilah, and that's the case of Trumas Hadeshen, derived from Trumas Hadeshen. You can't say it's Shnei Ksuma Bon Kechrei Melamdin. And the Gemara answers, Mishum Davi Trumas Hadeshen V'Egla Rufa Shnei Ksuma Bon Kechrei. In Egla Rufa, even though it's Naseis Mitzvah, so after the Arifa, after the whole ritual, nevertheless it's also by no because the Torah says in Dvarim Perikaf Aleph, V'Arfu Sham Es Ha Egla Banachal, and the Gemara increases Tavav derives from the word Sham take Furasa, and you're not allowed to benefit from the egel after its arifa, and Shnei Ksuvim Bam Kechad Ein Melamdim. Hanichel Man Diyom Ein Melamdim Man Diyomar Shnei Ksuvim Bam Kechad Melamdim. And you can derive other dinim in other places in the Torah from two ksuvim, Michael and Mema. Why don't we derive from Trumas Hadesh and Egla Rufa that even after Nasis Mitzvasa, there still is a din of Me'ilah? The Gemara answers that even though the Tana holds Shnei Ksuvim Bam Kechad Melamdim, even that Tana concedes that we cannot apply that in the cases of Trumas Hadesh and Egla Rufa, B'Trum Shtei Mi'uta Ksiva. There are two Mi'utim, one in the Parsha Trumas Hadeshen and another in the Parsha of Egla Rufa. In Trumas Hadeshen, it says Visamo, not Visame, Visamo. And we've been daik that Dafka the Deshen has a din me'ilah, but not anything else that is Naseis Mitzvasa. And in Egla Rufa, it says Ha-Arufa. And we're going to be daik that there's me'ilah after the Kiyum Mitzvasa here in the Ha-Arufa with the Hey Ayadiyah, to the exclusion of elsewhere. And therefore, everybody would agree that in this case, Ein Melamdim, we don't derive that even though it's Nasis Mitzvah, there still is Me'il. So this is where we're going to end for today, and we're up to Vahani Talsoi, Tlase Kroi, Bedam, Lamu. Have a great